You're entering the future-ready CNBC TV 18 EBIX Cash Studio.
Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV 18 EBIX Cash Studio. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance is hosting a crucial meeting today to get views from several stakeholders as the centre readies a draft cryptocurrency law. The industry, we learn, has recommended progressive regulations which they feel will ensure wealth creation and higher tax revenues for the exchequer. They want the government to treat cryptocurrencies as a special class which should be subject to income tax and GST. The government, on the other hand, is wary of cryptocurrencies becoming an avenue for money laundering and terror financing as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had chaired a comprehensive meeting on the way forward for cryptocurrencies in India over the weekend. Meanwhile, just last week, the RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das reiterated his concerns over cryptos. He was speaking at a summit hosted by Business Standard and also played down reports on the penetration of cryptocurrencies in India. Let's listen in to him first.
The cryptocurrencies, in whatever name you call it, cryptocurrencies are a very serious concern so far as the RBI is concerned, and we have a serious concern from the point of view of macroeconomic and financial stability. How the issue has to be dealt with, we have given our detailed suggestions to the government. As far as I know, the matter is under active consideration of the government, and the government will decide whatever information and feedback that we have. So with a reasonable amount of confidence, I think the number of participants in the crypto market seems, what is claimed seems somewhat exaggerated. And another interesting thing is about bulk of the investors. About, should I say, about 70% or even more of the participants in the crypto market have invested just about 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees.
All right, to take this discussion forward, we're now joined by Gopal Krishna Agarwal, spokesperson of the BJP, someone who leads a lot of economic initiatives and economic discussions on the part of the ruling party. We also have Tanvi Ratna, CEO at Policy 4.0. Mr. Agarwal and Ms. Ratna, thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, we heard from the RBI governor. He was speaking some time back, and he had said that the RBI continues to have serious concerns from a macroeconomic and financial stability point of view, and also the number of investors in this sector seems exaggerated to a great extent. But do you feel that it is high time we come out with regulations? Banning is no longer an option?
Definitely, if you look into the development in the past some of the months, you will see that RBI did come out with a circular where it said wanted the banks to completely ban people holding cryptocurrencies. But then it was asked to be withdrawn by the Supreme Court, and RBI later on withdrew it. And there was a question for the finance minister also. She said that at present we are not looking into banning the cryptocurrency. There are concerns, everybody has concerns, and we are well aware that RBI has serious concerns, and the current status of regulation or the way the people are investing, illegal exchange, we cannot call them illegal, but unregulated exchanges have come up, which there is ample evidence that money laundering can take place. So these concerns are there, government is well aware, but ultimately these concerns, etc., will be checked and controlled by regulating it. And we cannot just ban it because it is going to stay in the country, because if you ban something, the illegal market develops. That is also is very well known to the government. So, and there is immense potential on this whole technology, blockchain technology. India is going to be a leader into this digital financial markets and fintech, etc. So we cannot be out of the whole system of cryptocurrencies. Therefore, Prime Minister has taken a meeting. So regulation is the way ahead.
Okay, very important point that we cannot stay out. Regulation is the way ahead, not banning, and cryptocurrencies holds great potential for India. Let me get in Tanvi Ratna in. Tanvi, different industry bodies are making presentations before the parliamentary committee. The key point over here is if you have supportive and progressive regulations, that could lead to $1 billion in tax revenues annually for the exchequer from the cryptocurrency sector itself. Keeping all of this in mind, what does the government need to keep on top of its priority list when it gets down to making regulations?
Yeah, I think, thanks Parikshit for having me on the show. I think overall, the primary concern and the reason why this whole issue has been sort of stuck in India are the monetary risks around crypto, right? And it's very easy to say that India should regulate, but the simple fact is there is no precedent for India in terms of regulating monetary risk, because that's not really a risk that most advanced countries have. The US, Europe, these are countries with fully convertible currencies. They do not have a challenge in terms of having free flow of capital, having it converted anywhere in any quantity, right? This is a challenge for India because India, as you know, has capital controls. It has an LRS limit. For India, having exchange rate risk or any kind of money supply risk like that is a big challenge. And unless there's a solution to tackle that, it's all fair to say that there will be revenue from tax and things like that, but it does not address the real concern, which is quite a big concern for a state and for a sovereign currency.
Right. Tanvi, just to take you through some of the other industry recommendations we are picking up, which are being made to the parliamentary committee. Some of it includes treating crypto digital tokens as capital assets for income tax purposes. Centralized exchanges may be required to maintain minimum capital and a guarantee fund. Cryptos and digital tokens should be subject to income tax laws, GST. There must be immediate compliance with KYC, AML rules, also PAN linkages as well. Do you think all of these measures will help the sector, will help investors?
I think
if we have to protect Indian investors, the Indian economy, what is needed?
I think these are definitely very welcome suggestions, and it's great to see the industry being proactive, in their approach to do this. I think as far as investor protection, I mean, it will take a little more than that. I mean, investor protection comes from, really understanding what are the risks to investors. I mean, there's a variety of them, from the volatility in the price to, any kind of issues they face at exchanges itself, or, just the whole education that's sort of needed around this, right? So I think somewhere, it might fall short of actually addressing either the government's core needs or the consumer protection's core needs, which is sort of, my fear. But I think they're doing a great job in, being proactive and pushing this. And I think from our perspective, since we are a sort of policy research body, we are working on the solution for those risks of the government.
All right. Gopal Agarwal, from the point of view of BJP, how can India use this sector to its advantage? What kind of potential do you see? And when it comes to regulations, what is immediately needed? The Prime Minister's office has also spoken about a lot of misleading advertisements, a lot of hype around this, a lot of speculation which needs to be checked.
Yeah, there are two issues that are concerned. One thing we should understand that we do not need to promote this as an asset class, because all the issues with regard to speculation, unchecked investors being pleased from that is because if you consider it and take it into the direction of an asset class, all these problems will crop up. The thing is that how to make it as use it as a transactional value. That's one important thing. The government is very well into using technology for financial fintech solutions and other delivery mechanism, one thing. Second is digital currency is quite different than cryptocurrencies, and government is moving into that field at a very fast pace. We have seen we are now one of the global leaders into promoting digital transactions, digital currency, e-rupee, technology-driven, artificial intelligence, COVID, everywhere. Prime Minister Modi ji has been using and promoting to use new technologies, and there is a complete strategy for developing blockchain strategy. Various ministries have been and departments have been roped in to promote blockchain technology, and cryptocurrency uses a very big part of the blockchain technology. So we have to segregate And from the asset class, cryptocurrency being used as an asset class and as a transaction facilitator. Second, we differentiate between digital currency and the cryptocurrency. And the third is using blockchain technology, which crypto also uses, but has many more uses, which we are going to promote. And the one more important point I would like to mention here is people are talking about tax revenue. Government is not looking into tax revenue from digital currency. It is a technology which can improve the financial system, and it can also lead to some kind of problems also of illegal money getting into the system. So that is one thing. And the global taxation and new changes in the global arena show that the ecosystem on the black money concept will also, mindset will also have to slightly change, because now that black money concept, etc., with the e-commerce and other profit transfers and OECD initiatives and blockchain tech, this crypto, black money and different mindset will also have to be incorporated into the taxation law. So all these issues are complicated.
Right.
We have understand those complexities, and we also know the potential of this whole system, because if we are left out of the whole system, the world will move ahead. So we don't want to be left out of it. We want to be the leaders in fintech and financial systems, because if you see stock market, other things also, DMAT, NSDL, NSE, we are the global leaders in the financial market. And also we have also one point I would like to mention is a lot of financial transactions because of certain regulatory restrictions have moved out of India and going to London and Singapore places, and many of the financial transactions are not taking place. So Prime Minister Modi ji has promoted GIFT and other centers. So we have the know-how. We are very well aware of the challenges, and surely we will meet them.
Right. Tanvi, if I may ask you, what is the potential this really holds for India, for the Indian government, for the exchequer? What's your sense?
Actually, I very much agree with Mr. Agarwal in his statements, because I think the potential goes far beyond its use as a speculative asset, right? And like he said, that's really the potential you're trying to unlock. Is how do you actually unlock the tangible sort of value of cryptocurrency as a technology? Because that is also where I think the real game is for India. That's where the real future is for India, because it has the talent and it has the capability to be a leader in this wave of technology, right? So I don't personally think that, I don't personally think that there's any country really that has sort of cracked that framework very effectively, right? Because we're still grappling globally with its use as currency. So I think that's a very progressive thing. If the lens is sort of looking at it as technology, as something that can bring tangible values, I think that's a very right lens to look at the policy with.
Right. And in terms of the advertisements that we see, in terms of investor awareness, what are some of the steps that we need to take, Mr. Agarwal?
One thing is that we have to make the people aware about the negative aspect of the cryptocurrency, speculative aspect, because even in the stock market and debt market also, we have seen that innocent investors, small investors, at times are fleeced by the people who know the system and can manipulate them. And there is every chance that some of the exchanges which are not regulated, even you see the Supreme Court had to curtail and ask the RBI to withdraw its circular. So because they said that there is no regulation. So you cannot even call these exchanges illegal unless you have a law to regulate and operate for things. These exchanges are not illegal in India, but we know that there are so many harm impact of these unregulated exchanges. So unless there is a law, legislation, then it will be regulated. So the foremost thing is
Okay.
that government is working on is properly legislating, that there is a proper legislation for regulators like RBI, SEBI or other EDs or all those things who can regulate. There has to be a law. So first step is law, and completely banning is not the way out, as I have said, because it will promote illegal, because this thing cannot be controlled. It has a global
All right.
outreach or a
First and
global,
foremost, we need to have a legislation. That is what Gopal Krishna Agarwal is saying. We're going to take a short break, but we request Tanvi Ratna and Gopal Krishna Agarwal to stay with us. We will be joined by SC Garg in a short while from now. Don't go anywhere. This discussion on cryptocurrencies continues on CNBC TV 18. All right, we're discussing the way forward for cryptocurrencies in India. We're now joined by former Finance Secretary SC Garg. Mr. Garg, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us, what changes do we need in law when it comes to regulating the cryptocurrency sector? It seems now, we were speaking to the BJP spokesperson, that there no longer is a question of banning cryptocurrencies. It's about regulating it in the best way possible, as they're already in here in India in a big way. What's your view on the kind of changes that we need in law?
All right. See, whenever you talk about regulating something, we need to figure out what are we regulating. The cryptos is something which we have not really figured out what it is. Is it a currency? Is it a commodity? Is it service, platforms, asset? What it is? And therefore, whenever we talk about that we should bring about the regulation, I think we should figure that out first. Earlier law, which I had headed that committee, focused only on the currency part of it. and I think still remains relevant, considering everybody is concerned, RBI included, that as far as the currency is concerned, the regulation would be only to ban it. You can't allow or regulate it as a currency. Now, for the rest of it, whether as an asset or commodity or service or technology or whatever, the best way is to bring a law which is suitable for this particular asset class. And whenever we regulate it for fair trading, risk-free or reasonable risk kind of in those trading, consumer protection, investment protection, and all. So I do suggest, I think we should move on, keep the currency as separate, which can be banned, which no private company or crypto issuers can be allowed to do it. But for the rest, I think we should bring a law which is on the lines, maybe better to suit the specific characteristics of this, like we brought in earlier the Securities Contract Regulation Act. So for crypto contracts or crypto assets regulation, we can bring in some law where the appropriate regulations can be enacted. I think that's the way forward, but it will be very necessary to keep the various facets of it separate.
Right. Mr. Garg, very quickly, there are also several crypto exchanges. How do we need to regulate that?
So the crypto exchanges today do the trading of crypto as assets, right? So if you sort of are able to figure out, because I think I must tell you, there is an enormous amount of complication in the crypto as an asset. This is one asset class which has the commodity, service, capital, price, everything sort of rolled into one product and one price. For the crypto exchanges which do it, whenever we are in a position to bring a law for regulating cryptos, that would also sort of regulate the exchanges which will do the trading in cryptos. So it goes with it. You can't bring a separate law for only the crypto exchanges and not for the crypto as the asset or the product.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Garg. We've unfortunately run out of time, but thank you very much for sharing your views here on CNBC and how we need to regulate crypto assets and crypto exchanges as well. That's all we have time for on this special broadcast on cryptocurrencies. The Parliamentary Standing Committee is meeting industry bodies right now and experts. And in the upcoming session of Parliament, the government is also likely to introduce a law on this. We take a break, but news and updates continue on CNBC.